What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a video game show where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. I am one of your hosts, Jared Wilson, joined across the power of the internet by my co-host, Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
And our special guest joining us today to talk about one of his favorite games, Kirrok Craft.
Hi, guys. Kirrok.
How's it going, Kirrok? Thanks. Glad to have you on once again. This is awesome.
We appreciate it. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, we're excited to get to talk about, we're a little sneak peek if the title hasn't given it away already, but we're here to talk about Skyrim. So This is a episode 10 years overdue, one could say, since the games came out in 2011. But we are finally going to share some thoughts on it since Mogan and I have recently been playing through the game. And
for the
first time. And so we wanted to bring on another big time fan of the game who has played a little bit more of us and has more than us and has a bigger history of the game than us. So that is why Kirrok is here today with us. So
I guess where I'm at a disadvantage is it's been years since I played it, like around the time it came out. And then I tried again recently. I'll go into that, but.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear about that. But so Team Chat Podcast, new episodes of the show come out on Tuesdays, 9 a.m. Central Time. You can listen to those on podcast services around the World Wide Web, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and others. You can also watch a video version of each episode over on our YouTube channel. You can find us on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can join our Discord server where we have fun gaming conversations, non-gaming related conversations, a whole lot of good stuff. Everybody in this episode is members over there on the old Discord. So if you want to talk to us, go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Links for all that stuff are in the description below. And finally, if you want to help make the show bigger and better, just like Zach S., Susan M., James K., Ben W., Michael B., Fuchsia Rascal, Andrew M., Michael S., and Brandon W. have done by going over to patreon.com/Team Chat Podcast and supporting the show. Yeah, give them those heart emojis because we love them so much.
Shoot a heart. There you go.
There we go. But you can, for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show, and in return, we'll give you cool perks like getting the episodes early before its general Tuesday release, access to a private channel on our Discord server, the Rogues Gallery, and for our $5 tier, those patrons get 2 weeks exclusivity on a subsidiary show. We like to call it Team Chit Chat, where Mogan and I talk about something that we love, or I guess even hate, that is not video game related. So after that 2 weeks exclusivity, it goes out for general release to the public at large. But if you can't support us through Patreon, that is totally fine. We totally understand. There are tons of other ways, though, that you can help make the show bigger and better, such as telling your friends, writing us reviews, following and subscribing to us on social media and wherever you listen to or watch the show. All those things help get the good word of Team Chat Podcast out into the world, which then ultimately turns into really cool things like, hey, we're sponsored now by Bowed Up. So this episode of Team Chat Podcast is brought to you by Bowed Up. Bowed Up is a modern Asian brand that combines traditional bow techniques with more modern and Texas-inspired fillings. We had I know we've talked about this before. We have so many things we still yet have to try on their menu, but man, I had that brisket bow. Whew! It's delicious. I'm still thinking about it. So their goal is to provide a very convenient and experience and with satisfying food. And I got to tell you, Mogan, it was pretty easy. We went up there. Our food was waiting for us in a locker. We just punched in a code, boop-a-doop-a-doop, boom, pulled it out, and we were ready to go.
I do appreciate that Bowed Up was actually doing the contactless pickup way before it was like mandated by quarantine.
Before it's cool.
They were like, no, we don't want to talk to the customer. We'll put your food in a little locker and then you can put in a code. We'll like pop it out to you. What a great business model.
That's awesome.
If I worked there, I'd be like, hell yes. I never have to talk to a customer again. I just get to make bow and have a good time.
And then we get to eat said bow and have a good time. So it's all good stuff all the way around. But before we get into our main topic of the day, let's get a little bit of news and what's coming out soon in our Moment with Mogan.
All right, so just in case you missed it, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is now available for next-gen consoles, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch, actually. On March 16th, this episode's air date, all of the following are coming out. Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning for Switch. Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Stadia, and PC. Moondawn. Unsure how to pronounce it. It's Mundaun, and it's for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. RBI Baseball 21.
I've been looking forward to that one for forever.
I know, right? It's too bad that we'll never be able to play it because it's only available on. I'm just kidding. It's available for everything. In fact, it's more available for everything than most other things are. So it's available for Xbox Series X and S, PS4, interestingly, Xbox One, Switch, PC, iOS, and Android.
Oh,
we got a rare mobile release.
There we go. Get ready to play.
We've also got Samurai Showdown for the Xbox Series X and S. I know a lot of people are a big fan of, or are really excited about that game. We got a lot's actually coming out on the 16th. Saviors of Sapphire Wings. Oh my god, this title is so long. This is all one game. Saviors of Sapphire Wings and Stranger of Sword City Revisited is coming up for Switch and PC. These names! Stubbs the Zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse. That is, once again, Stubbs the Zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And then coming very soon on March 18th, we have Jack Jean, or Jeanne, for the Switch. Magnum Lord for PS4 and Switch. Marvel's Avengers is coming out for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. And then on the 19th, we have Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville for the Switch. Root Film also comes out on the 19th for PS4 and Switch, and that rounds us out through the end of the week.
Very cool, very cool. Wow. I actually realized earlier this week that the new Stronghold game dropped on Steam on, I guess, Tuesday, I think it was. And I'm contemplating picking it up. I really should pick it up.
I mean, I would be interested to see, like, what have they done since the last Stronghold game? What's new?
Well, a lot, apparently, in the fact that this one takes place in Asia, and you get to like face the Mongol horde and play as ancient Japan and
I hope
all that
that
stuff.
Means that instead of your cows having a malady, it's your water buffaloes. That's really cute.
That's a busy month.
That would be hilarious if they did that. Yeah, it is a lot of busy month. A lot of stuff coming out. Yeah. But so before we jump into our main topic, it's actually a little timely that we were talking about this before we started recording, that we're doing this topic talking about Skyrim and a Bethesda game, because yesterday, it's March, 11th today? So the 10th, yes. March 10th, yesterday, the deal where Microsoft is acquiring Bethesda went through, and that merger's complete. And so today they announced that tomorrow, March 12th, and so by the time this episode's out, this already happened, 20 Bethesda games will be dropping on Games Pass. So I'll read through this list real quick. We got Dishonored, Dishonored 2, Doom, Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 3, Doom Eternal, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Prey, Rage 2. Skip that one. The Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, and then Elder Scrolls Online, The Evil Within, Wolfenstein: The New Order, Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, and Wolfenstein Youngblood. So all of those will be coming out to Xbox Game Pass and will be completely free to play for the people who are subscribing to the Xbox Game Pass service, which that's a lot of new games hitting.
Yeah. It's a lot of new games. Can I do the quickest of sidebars?
Sure.
So I don't know if you remember, Jarrett, our Rage 2 review episode.
Where we raged about how terrible it was.
Quite a bit. My favorite comment on that video is still somebody saying, "I came here to listen to y'all shit on Rage 2." Yes.
It's like one of the best YouTube comments we've ever gotten. I loved it so much.
We've ever gotten, because it's like, that's exactly what we're delivering here at Team Chat Podcast.
The hard hitting truths that no one else wants to admit. Rage 2 was not a good video game.
It's not a good video game. It's just not. There you go.
Yeah. It was a little rough to get through.
All right, anyways, but that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about Bethesda and Skyrim.
Exactly. Good old Scrim. We're here to talk about it. So, yes, as part of our Extra Life rewards, I guess, from last year's Extra Life, Mogan and I decided that once we hit the certain amount, we would play Skyrim. As we hit that amount, we exceeded at that amount, so we have played Skyrim. I will say we haven't finished yet. But we still wanted to come in and talk about the game and our experiences so far, because it's a big game. It's also, in trying to keep up with current releases and everything else coming out, and, to have that timely content and everything like that. It's, we wanted to go ahead and talk about it, because I feel like at this point where we are in the game, I believe I'm a little, I'm like into Act 2. I was watching like a story in, compressed version of the story on YouTube earlier today, just to kind of get an idea where I was hitting. I think I'm in the and Mogan, I know you're roughly the same place as I am in the story
Yeah,
too.
we're pretty
so
close.
I think we're like into Act 2. So I feel like that gives us enough time where we've hit the point. We know the story. We understand the story beats, but we've also gotten plenty of time to explore the world, explore the mechanics, get some combat under our belts, and really, we have a good idea of what this game is. So, thus enter Kirrok, because he also has played the game, and he also played the game after, around the time of its actual release. And so we wanted to have someone who has a little bit more knowledge, a deep love for this game, and and to kind of just like all of us bounce our random thoughts and what we thought of this game around in a big conversation. So let's do that.
All right,
Let's
cool.
do it.
I'm going to say something though, but it's been so long. I don't remember a lot of the story. I just developed that kind of nostalgic thing where even if I'm, say, watching someone else stream, like for example, when Mogan was streaming, I would hear the music in the background and it would just put me into that zone where I'd be like, oh, so good.
Yeah.
And then recently I tried to get back into it again, but I didn't even get that far. I'll go into a little more detail a little later.
So then Kirrok, then we'll start with you, I guess. So what about this game really, like drew you in when you first played it back in 2011, 2012?
Yeah.
Like what were the things that attracted you to it, or you were like, man, this game is something special?
And actually, real quick, kind of along those same lines, because you played it back at what I assume is the height of its popularity, like, was everybody you knew playing it? Like, was it super hyped up? Was it still the game of the time?
So back then, Xbox 360 was out, PS3 was out, and it was, I think those systems were still they were coming onto their tail end, because 2013 is when all the PS4 and Xbox One came out, right? So a lot of my friends that I gamed with were playing it. Because they were the same friends that I had that when Oblivion, the game just before Skyrim came out, we were all playing it online and we were playing it and having fun and enjoying it. Excuse me. So realistically, like the love that you asked me about, where it came from, Oblivion was the game that sunk its hooks into me. I have some regrets because Morrowind came out back in the original Xbox days. And I did buy the game, and I did not like the game at all. I just had different tastes back then. And to this day, I actually regret that. I wish I had given it more of a chance and gotten into it. But going back to Skyrim was like, when I got it, to me, it looked and felt like an Oblivion with next generation video graphic. Like, it was just incredible. I was like, look at this. It's amazing. And I always tend to like fantasy medieval type worlds. That's my thing. I don't know. I just really, really love it.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So what I went through was, and this is how much I wanted to play the game. I got it for PS3, played it, wasn't too satisfied with how text looked a little small on the screen. Actually, because back then, I think you could still return games. I can't remember now. I did get it exchanged and changed it out for the Xbox 360 version. Played it. I thought it might be a bit better. Wasn't that much better. And so for the very first time ever, I decided, okay, I'm building my own PC. So
nice.
This is the game that made me build my first gaming Windows machine PC.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I built it, and at that point, I did not return the Xbox One. So I had it on 360 and I had it on the Windows machine. And I did comparisons like in-game on the computer and on my TV screen from the Xbox 360. And I went in front of like that tavern right in, was it Riftwood at the very beginning?
Oh, yeah.
And you look at it and there was things on the Xbox 360, bushes in front of the tavern were missing, the different, like the stairs were a different setup. And then on the PC, it was much more rich, much more detail. It was incredible. Oh. So yeah, it was really, really cool. I mean, it just the idea of playing a medieval type / fantasy game is what really got me into it. But I was hoping for more of what I saw in Oblivion, which actually is the game that hooked me into the Elder Scrolls series.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So that's really cool then, that Oblivion is like the game that got you into it. And then Skyrim then became the game that, made you want to be like, I got to play this on a PC. I got to see what this looks like in these high-tech graphics of the day. So what about it then, Mogan? I know you and I, we came to it now later, around 11 years after, not 11, 10 years after its initial release. How did that, and that was kind of the thing for us, and kind of for me, I feel like I've enjoyed the game of what I've played so far in some areas, but I do have I can't shake the feeling a little bit that I would have enjoyed it more had I played it back in 2011.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. And I just think that, I had the exact same. Jared and I have already talked about this at length on our own, and we're like, we had the exact same experience, like almost verbatim. And that's saying something because we played fairly different in terms of style. My character that I decided to start building is a Khajiit because I had to go with the cat. Everybody informed me later that apparently the Khajiit has the worst natural abilities or affinities.
Oh, really?
It's when you're not holding a weapon, I think your claws do X amount of extra damage or something, but it's so minuscule that it means nothing. It's a meaningless ability. So the cat person is apparently not a very good choice, but I'm always in these types of games for the aesthetics when it comes to character creation. So I couldn't have cared less what the stats of the other classes were. I was like, no, I'm going Catman. That's all I needed to hear. So I started making a cat man called Free Shavakadu. Yeah, good old Free Shavakadu.
I was there.
Yeah, Kirrok was there. The creation of Free Shavakadu, which, quick sidebar, I will say, and I should have expected this, it is a 10-year-old game at this point. When I was going through the character creation, I was like, I kind of thought there would be more character creation here, but it's because I'm so spoiled from modern times, because coming from Monster Hunter world where it's make your character, you can make them look any way you want, and they mean that to the best of their ability. Going back 9 years in character creation technology, that's quite a step back. So I was like, well, I do appreciate the Catman. I like some of these options, but I can't make him blue, and that's a problem. so I had some fun and some complaints, very minor petty complaints about the character creation, and then I decided to go with, in terms of my build, I'm going for a no arrows, no stealth. I don't hide in the shadows. I run straight in there and die most of the time, but I've got magic and a sword. I think I'm going for a one-handed weapon and then magic in the other hand kind of build. I don't know what you would call that, but that's what I've been doing. And then the only stealth or thiefy ability that I have bothered to level up, largely by accident, lock picking.
I feel you have to, though.
I do love stealing. I love picking locks. I will say that the lock picking, as its own miniature mechanic, I probably got the most enjoyment out of lockpicking. I really liked it. It's actually very fun, and I was amazed at how precise you have to be on the higher levels of lockpicks. I was actually really surprised at how intricate it really is, and also just how engaging I found it. First of all, I love stealing in general. Targets in the Austin area, watch out.
that dollar stealing area.
And I love finicky controls, ones were not finicky but precise. I like precision. So I've got a not very strong Khajiit who's really good at lockpicking, okay at destructive magic, pretty good at restorative magic, pretty good at one-handed weapon wielding, shit tier at everything else. So that's where I'm at. That was my base character. I actually want to hear about both of your characters before we charge off into the great beyond.
I believe I chose a Briton. Right? Is that one?
Yeah,
I'm suddenly blanking.
Yep,
okay. Or Breton, and then
Breton a Breton.
Yeah. So that's what I chose as my race. I kind of thought I might do an elf. Be an elf, because that's what I am actually. I'm playing as an elf in my current Dragon Age Inquisition playthrough. But then I selected the elves, and I'm sorry to say, they're just busted. The like high elves and the dark elves, especially.
Oh my God, they are.
They pulled up, and I actually like started laughing. I was like, I can't.
They're so ugly. They're so ugly. I thought the exact same thing, and I actually just kind of throughout my playthrough, just kind of many of the characters that I encountered, I was like, wow, the people of Skyrim are just butt ugly.
Which I have to say though, like, granted, we are looking back at a 10-year-old game, so obviously, like in that regard, they're not. But for the day, like I remembered watching like the trailer, I remembered watching videos and different stuff like that, and being just like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Like they've got so many different people. The cities felt and still do. Like I will say that the cities do look really nice. They feel alive at all times of the day, and you know, I will say for what didn't age as well in its look, its atmosphere is still very strong. And I think that, you know, like what you were saying, Kirrok, about loving the medieval fantasy worlds, that atmosphere in this perfectly captured.
It's great. Yeah. I mean, you can see it in the architecture, the whole map, where you have to go, the dungeons that you have to go through. They've put a lot of love into making that feel like you're in a fantasy world. It's really nice.
Right.
For sure.
And especially too, like the amount of stuff you can pick up and collect. You know, you're picking up linens, you're picking up picking up, you know, iron and different metals to be able to craft things later. And then you can't walk anymore, which then adds another fun little dynamic that you have to work around with handling your inventory. But so I feel like the attraction of it and I definitely get how this game sucked in people and pulled people in for hours. Because same thing. Even I don't know why I didn't play it, honestly, because the job I was working at the time, everybody there was playing Skyrim.
Really? Okay.
And I don't know. I think I was just poor and didn't want to buy it because I bought something else recently. I probably bought the most recent Assassin's Creed or something that was out. And so, but looking back, that is actually like one of my biggest gaming regrets is that I did not play Skyrim when it came out, because I feel like, yes, I'm planning on rectifying that mistake whenever we get Elder Scrolls 6 and like playing that at launch and just being like, you know what, here we go. I'm going in and I'm here for the long haul and we're going to figure this out. But I think I just named my guy. Like I have a like Rhaegar or something like that I just have like a standard name for my like dude, bro, medieval warriors. So that's just kind of what I went with there. But so Kirrok, what did you normally play as then?
So here's the thing. I'm the kind of guy who just sticks with the same thing over and over. I don't know why, but I have explored a bit. So my main thing would be, or was, making a warrior. Just a regular like warrior, sword and shield, and sometimes bow. I chose a Nordic, I believe. Nordic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did on Skyrim. If I rolled a new character, I was like, maybe I should try another. Nah. And before I realized it, I was making the exact same character again. In fact, when I did it on Skyrim on the Switch, I did the exact same thing. However, some of you out there, a lot of you out there already know that they released the online version, which is Elder Scrolls Online.
Mm-hmm.
And on that one, I finally did do a Khajiit as a rogue. So I could sneak and so on. And I actually logged more hours on that than I did on Skyrim itself. Way back when that came out. Yeah.
Very nice.
So I know you have it
changed a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure, because they keep releasing a lot of expansions and DLC for that as well. But so I do have to ask.
Yeah.
I know you've mentioned you have it on Xbox 360. PC, and Switch. Are those the only versions of Skyrim you own, or do you own more?
No. The nice thing.
How many versions of it do you have?
Okay, hold on. The nice thing about this is it comes with all of the expansions in it.
Oh,
but you can't mod it.
That's
so
it includes, I'm too scared to mod.
Yeah, it has Dawnguard. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't think we can, anyways, Jarrett, because we both have it on console.
PS4.
You can't do it at all. Yeah.
Oh, PS4, we can't. I thought one of them did let you have like some mods.
It's possible. I don't remember what Sony stands
for. they've got like pre-approved mods, but
Yeah,
like
not
you
one
can't
like
go in
a
and
mod library or something,
Yeah.
but I couldn't like go in and do whatever I
Better.
wanted. Yeah.
So this one actually comes with Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn all on one. So it's well worth it, especially the fact that you could do it, you know, take it with you where you go. What was that question though?
Oh, just how many versions of it do you
So
own?
I have it on Switch, as you saw. I have it on PC when it first came out, which was the Legendary Edition, I think it's called now.
Mhm.
I recently, and when I say recently, probably in the last 6 months, bought it again on sale in the special edition, because the special edition handles mods better than the legendary. The legendary crashes more, so they kind of re-released it to be able to be a lot more moddable, compatible. And I did mod it, and I'm telling you right now, the game is a completely different game when you mod it. It looks like
really?
a new revamped game with current day graphics.
Oh,
So it's really nice. It's the way that they allow that, because the community in modding is huge now, right?
Mhm.
I also did pick it up on Steam for VR.
Oh, have you tried that?
I have not. I want to play it. I will stream it. I have not tried it at all yet, but I can't wait to give it, because you're gonna have to, like, I'm with the sword and and then do this with the bow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, see, I'm kind of regretting now, and I wondered why. Oh, because it was just more expensive. But like, I'm waiting for it to go on sale for the Switch, because I feel like I would be more inclined to play through it, because that's just like, I don't know. I just feel like it would be a really good game, because it's not like one necessarily that you are, you know, like you wouldn't notice the graphical variances as much as like trying to play a current RPG level size game on your Switch, especially in like handheld mode and stuff like that.
Graphically in handheld mode, it's great. When you play it connected, you can see a little bit here and there. It's not perfect. In fact, where I noticed it the most was in audio. So you'd hear people speaking, and you kind of hear like the sound was a little artifacty. I don't know if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
But,
just kind of has a touch of distortion to it, and you're like,
exactly.
can tell that's got some issues. I understand,
but it's still good. It's still all there.
Because that's part of my thing too, is I'm honestly, I am like a couple hours, I think, away from finishing yet another game of Civilization 6 on my Switch, and then I'm like banning myself from playing it for a while because I have to play something else on my Switch. And so, but like Skyrim would be an excellent replacement for it, I feel like, because especially like as I'm going to bed, sure, I'll spend some time running around, seeing what's what, fighting a troll here or there, maybe raiding a dungeon, doing some different stuff right before I tuck myself in for a wonderful night's slumber and get that rest, that fully rested bonus. And so, you know, I really want to talk about it then. So I think, what were some of the things that, like, because I know like one of the things about Skyrim is that it is very well known for its bugginess. Like, I posted a video to our Discord when I was playing, when I got launched into the stratosphere by a giant who smashed me with a hammer.
Apparently that's like a really well-known one too, and I didn't know that either until someone was like, "Yeah, you got it," and it was like, "What?" It's
but
like
that's
a rite of passage, I guess.
That's one of the things that has also kind of endeared it to me in a sense, is now getting to experience all these like gaming culture moments that the game offers. For like, I can't tell you how happy I was. I'd seen the video a bajillion times and seen it made fun of and memed a bajillion times, but still, for the first time playing the game, to have it open up and they said, "Good, you're awake." Or like,
that was like, honestly one of the, that was like a highlight.
Right? I heard the adventure. I used to be an adventurer like you, but I took an arrow to the knee.
Yes.
Khajiit has wares if you have coin. Like, all those things has been so fun. And I feel like that's kind of like even elevated it in a sense to me. But what are some of the things about it, maybe? Because I know it's one of the things that you and I have talked about, Mogan, before, that there is some jankiness, clankiness to how the game operates. So like, what are some of the things there that, like, we talked about some of the things we like. What are some of the things we don't necessarily like about it?
Well, if I can just go on ahead and start with one of my
Go for
primary complaints about Skyrim, and this persisted even after I had logged enough hours that it shouldn't have been as much of an issue anymore, just for muscle memory. I found the menus and the way that you access your inventory and your items incredibly non-intuitive. Just being able to pull up, okay, I want to get to my items so that I can use a potion. I want to go switch out my magic. Being able to do that took so much more effort than it has in any other game I can think of. Not just in modern times, like older games too. I found it extremely just so non-intuitive. Like everything was the reverse of what you think it would be, and it was sluggish. There was really no way to like quickly skip around in your inventory. It was very manual. Being able to finally figure out how to do the quick menu was super helpful. So the quick menu,
I remember when I was watching you stream one day and I was just like, wait, what did you do?
Yeah, the quick menu certainly helps with that, but like in general, and this is coming from someone, keep in mind, I love inventory management. It is one of my favorite things about most RPGs and JRPGs. I love
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, Animal Crossing. I love inventory management. And in Skyrim, hate it. And I think that's a red flag. If someone who loves to just manage and organize items doesn't want to organize or even like access their inventory because it's such a shit show in there, that's a red flag. So yeah, that was like one of my most consistent complaints, is that I hated the menu and inventory system.
What about you, Kirrok? Anything that like you kind of stood out to you as being like, man, I wish this would have been better?
Buggy wise, I think I saw when I went around just outside White. Oh my god, I'm not remembering.
Whiterun? Yeah.
Yes, Whiterun. There's the giants there with the mammoths. I remember seeing a mammoth floating up in the air and then coming down again. That was the only bug that I can recollect. But the thing, and I think this is actually a little more charming, and I get a chuckle out of this every time I think about it. Bellathor, right? His voice. Bellathor is in the oh my god, the first town you go into, Riften.
Is he Shopboat? Okay. Yep.
Oh, hang on. Is that Bellathor? Yeah, that is.
I think you're right.
No.
That sounds.
He's in. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. It's been so long. He's in Whiterun, and you go into there's the well in the center of the market, and you go into the little shop. That I believe that's him, Bellathor there. Oh, and he's the guy who wants to sell his sister to you if he could.
Oh my god!
I don't think I did. I triggered that one.
Not really.
I don't think I triggered that side quest.
No, every time I walk in there, the game says the same thing over and over and over. And one of them is, "I'd sell my sister to you if I could." And after a while, I was like, "Oh my god!" But then, aside from that, and this is where I'd get the chuckle, is other NPCs around Skyrim have the exact same voice actor without even attempting to change the voice at all.
Absolutely. There's that one guy, and I feel so bad just calling him that one guy. Don't know what his name is, but everybody knows his voice because he has voiced so many characters over the years. And he was, I think, Eric's best friend in Boy Meets World.
Oh, Will Friedle?
Guy. Maybe? Will what?
Will Friedle? Frield? No.
No, that is Eric. We're talking about his best friend.
Oh.
Eric's best friend.
Showed my Boy Meets World knowledge there.
Yeah, you fool. Jason Marsden. It's Jason Marsden. He has voiced so many characters over the years. Not hearing
John Marsden.
No, Jason Marsden. He has voiced so many characters over the years, and so to hear him all over the place as random, non-consequential NPCs was hysterical. I was like, that's Jason awesome. Marsden, did they even pay you enough for this? You've been major characters before, and you're just playing nothing NPCs. What happened here, buddy?
I just saw a video with Will Friedle talking about his voice acting, so that's what got me thinking it was him, but then I forgot. No. Yeah,
Jason Marsden probably looped him in. He was probably like, "Bro, I got connections. I can get you into this game."
Wow, I just had to type Jason and it started saying Jason Marsden. Wow. Okay, that's
Scary.
cool. That is scary. It's because we've been talking about him.
Jason Marsden voiced Haku in Spirited Away, one of the roles that probably a lot of people would know him for. He's also been in, I think, what's it called? Oh, Young Justice. I think he was somebody in Young Justice. Anyways, the Goofy movie, of course. He was also in the Goofy movie. He has been in so many things. Anyways, the point is, Jason Marsden is all over Skyrim.
He's all over,
but he's not a main character, so it's hysterical.
That is pretty good. I would say the biggest thing for me, and it's honestly a complaint that I've had for other Bethesda games, specifically Fallout. Like I tried playing Fallout 3 at one point a few years ago, and just kind of fell in love with it because of how unprecise the combat feels. Like, you know, the first person viewpoint for this game, which I tried playing it in both first and third person, and I've just ultimately decided still that that first person was the way to go for this. It sometimes was very difficult to like judge the actual swing distance of your weapons. Yeah. And like I did have a hard time too with the bow and arrow. Like I'm like, I know I'm pulling this back. Why is it dropping like 5 inches in front of me? You know, just like basically falling off the front of my bow. That was probably like the biggest complaint I really ran into with Skyrim and what I've been playing, because like with Fallout 3, that's eventually what made me want to be like, I don't want to play this anymore. Because that game, you have to shoot like all the time, or the majority of the time. And so when that feels off, it made the whole thing kind of feel off. What's very interesting too that I did love when I was playing Skyrim is that the lockpicking mechanic is the exact same from Fallout and Skyrim.
Only a screwdriver and something else.
Exactly, not just like little bobby pin things that they have in Skyrim. But that was probably like the biggest thing, because I eventually got into this one dungeon, Dustman's Cairn, I believe is what it is.
Sure.
And like there was a point in there I got so close to rage quitting, because it was like this narrow passageway down deep into this tomb. And you got to this point where it opened up into this cavern, and there were like 5, 6 like bandits in there. And then some undead people started waking up and be fighting you too. And you just couldn't, I just constantly got swarmed. I couldn't block because there's always somebody hitting me and knocking me around. And I'm just like, what do I do? I tried being magic, like going magic one hand, something else in the other hand. I tried going 2-handed heavy weapon. I tried going sword and shield. I even had a buddy with me because it was one of the companions quests to get into the companions. Okay. And I even had a guy with me. He was just getting massacred and I could not figure it out. And like, I want to say that was the one place where I got stuck, like an hour, maybe, trying to like just do this one thing. And it was because it was just like, I would swing thinking I could hit. They're out of range because of that weird perspective of it being the first person. Then half my stamina is gone because I'm using a heavy ass battle axe, and then they just immediately just like, just like stab me to death like Julius Caesar in the back. And so it was just so, that part just kind of got very frustrating to me, and especially, and so like if I could find it more, and then eventually I figured out how to beat it. I just had to funnel them all back into the narrow area. Then I took them all one at a time, which I was like, oh, big brain, I should have thought of that earlier. And so, but outside of that though, in other areas, like when that was like the one place where like all the problems with the combat I had were like multiplied. But outside of that, it wasn't ever really that big of a thing. It's just something I knew I had to account for. But in that one, like there were so many enemies there, you couldn't mess up. And so the tiniest mess up, which felt like it was just a shortcoming of the mechanics, got very grating to me. But outside of that, like that was probably my biggest complaint with the whole thing. But like you were saying, Kirrok, with that nostalgia factor of the game, I know that a lot of people have that with this game, and especially in going back to talking about the atmosphere of it, I want to circle back around to some more things that we do love and did like really enjoy about this game.
We also haven't really like explained or even touched on the story, and
I kind of honestly don't even know if
are
we need
other
to.
people that haven't played Skyrim before. So like the briefest rundown we can give You're in a world where dragons are coming back to life. They've been gone for however long years. You don't know why, but you're apparently a dragonborn, your little NPC that you build. So you have like the blessings of dragons, and you can absorb their souls and use their powers, and it's a big ass deal.
Yep.
Some political stuff is happening between all the kingdoms, and the crux is dragons, which I feel like we haven't even mentioned the dragons yet, which is a big part of the game.
Haven't.
That is true. Let's talk about the dragons then.
Okay.
How do we think about fighting those big old beasts?
I will. So this is kind of. Oh no, Kirrok, please go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I got my ass kicked so many times.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, there are different ones. There's frost dragons. There's
fire dragons.
Fire
dragon.
Yeah.
But when you finally manage to get one down, it feels real good if you are able to kind of like figure out what kind of timing in terms of potion taking, what kind of weapon to use, what kind of armor to use. But I'm there's something else I want to talk about that's more, but we're talking dragons, so you guys go on.
I was just gonna say that this kind of piggybacks off of Jared, what you were saying with the combat. I will go on ahead and say I have many complaints about Skyrim, so unfortunately that's just kind of where I'm at. The dragons are one of the few times that I felt like combat was actually interesting, because really every other combat encounter I had, I was simultaneously bored and annoyed, just because, again, this is kind of not really Skyrim's fault. It's just compared to newer games that have so much else going on and so much more to think about, or different strategies that you can use. Skyrim felt very much like, okay, just kind of button mash, hack and slash your way in there. Good luck, champ. There's not really much else to do. Hit him with the sword. Did you try that? Maybe you don't even really have to aim at them that hard, just kind of in their general direction. And it's just like, okay, I'm a little bored with this. But the dragons were one of the few times where I felt like things I'm doing actually matter. So that was a plus for me, is actually being able to more strategically feel like, oh, I have to be really careful with my magic. I have to really be watching where the dragon is and where it's going. I need to like duck and cover, that kind of stuff. So dragons and dragon combat was one of the few times in the game where I was like, okay, this is actually fun. Even when I was dying, it's like, okay, I've learned something about this. Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. So now that I've learned, I'm going to charge back in there, and it's going to go different this time.
Forgot to even mention the shouts.
Oh yeah.
Because
because you first fight that first dragon that's like attacking an old tower outside of a town.
That's right. Yeah.
And you take that one out, and that's when you discover you might be dragonborn, because the soul gets absorbed into you. And then they say, hey, you really ought to go check out these graybeards way up.
Well, also you hear an ungodly shout from the heavens, and it's the graybeards calling to you, and everybody else heard it too, and they're like, well, shit, dude, you better get up to that mountain.
You seem kind of important now.
You seem important.
But I did like the dragon's combat as well. I liked that first dragon that we fought. Like that, I agree with you, Mogan. Like it did, like I was like, oh, I can switch to a bow and I can shoot around a couple times and he's flying around. Then I can, when he lands, I can run up and try to hack at him with a sword or something like that, and maybe hit him with some potions of my own up close. I ran into a dragon though later in the game, just out when I was derping around in the wilds, and it was he was flying around. It was like I'm on the side of a mountain. So he's like flying up at the top of the mountain. I cannot get anywhere close to trying to get him, but he keeps diving down and hitting me. At the same time that's happening, I stumble upon one of the saber-tooth cats.
Oh, no.
So I was just like, well, guess I'll die. And
I know exactly what you mean. I ran into a couple of situations like that too, where the level geometry meant that I was actively in combat with a dragon, but I can't get to the dragon, but the dragon can get to me. So it really was just like, okay, I'm just going to have to run until I get to a point like a cave or something where I can go in, and hopefully it will unaggro the dragon, and then I can leave and fast travel somewhere. Because it is worth noting, when you are actively in combat, you cannot fast travel. So even if you're about to die, you're just boned.
Yeah. So the shouts then, because that is the big thing that like is a part of being the Dragonborn, is you get these secret shouts, these sacred old shouts that you could periodically unlock. I didn't realize that, which I thought was kind of cool too. I thought you got like the big old Fuzroda shout like right off the gate, like that was the first one. I didn't realize you would have to, throughout the progression of the game, level it up, which I thought was a cool little side mechanic.
I did too.
But
yeah, I like that. So I also especially, this is one of those atmospheric things that I'm like, ooh, I can appreciate this. I loved the way that you got new words to your shouts, in that you would often go into these big caverns and like just be going through a dungeon and you're like, okay, everything's going fine. And then all of a sudden you start to hear this like chanting music in the background.
Yes,
and then there's like this whirlwind, like kind of effect around you. And then like ancient writings on the wall will start glowing. And then they like explode out at you as you're absorbing it. I liked everything about that. That was like peak atmosphere.
Cool. You'd get to go through a dungeon, which was a bit of work to get through, but then there was either something like a big fight at near the end just before that, or potentially a puzzle that you had to solve.
Yeah,
which was pretty good. I recall the thing that sticks in my mind was when you go to the top of the mountain, you do that journey, and as you go up, you read the different pillars, and then eventually you get to the guys who teach you about the shouts.
Yeah,
and I'm going by.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. They basically go through the whole thing of how it works, and essentially it's a built-in tutorial.
Yeah,
which is really cool because like of how like it's just like, oh, there's this whole ancient society up here, these wizards who like can harness these shouts and they know it all. But it's kind of fun, like too, I liked their like tutorial, they're built in. It's like, okay, look, Father Greybeard 1 is over here. You're gonna let use your shout. Don't worry, it won't hurt him. But a part of me was still like, it's gonna hurt him. I don't know if they know this. And then the second part where you like learn the speed boost part, which I finally ran into a spot in the game where I needed it. There was like a hallway in a cavern that had like axes swinging by and all this stuff. And my God, it took me so many times to get the timing of using that ability right. But then when I did it, I was like, I'm so fast. I'm going fast, Ricky Bobby. It was just it's really cool to see all these different, because there are a lot. That's the one thing that we haven't necessarily talked about as much, but just like how many mechanics there are to this game. It's not, you're running around, you collect armor, you buy new weapons, and then and that's kind of it. And then you have this shout, like you're collecting ingredients for alchemy. There's crafting. And that crafting is a whole other like skill set you have to build up. There's the ability tree or ability constellations in and of itself that you have to like learn and figure out how that works and how those various attributes can affect your character. And which I will say was a little hard to figure out how to go for me, because I'm like trying to figure out all the different things I want to do. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, did I want to carry around just a big axe? Did I want to carry around a sword and shield? And like trying to figure out which of those to level up as I was trying to get better and better with which, class settings I wanted my character to have. There's a lot of layers to the game for sure.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Mogan, when you were streaming the game, I remember saying, did you taste it?
Yeah,
because you pick up flowers, ingredients, and then if you eat it, it tells you what effect it has. You were going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say that as far as crafting items goes, like potions and alchemy type things, I got nothing out of that process.
Oh.
What I did really enjoy were weapons, like being able to disenchant and then use what you had learned from that to then re-enchant other weapons and armor. I thought that was a really cool process. The whole idea about being able to basically break something apart, like maybe you find a really good axe and it has a fire enchantment on it, and you're like, oh my God. Because it kind of makes you actually have to make a critical decision. Like, am I going to keep this really good axe and use it, or I don't have this enchantment yet, and I know I don't know this enchantment. So am I going to take it back to an enchanter's table, break it apart to get the enchantment, and then be able to use that for my own other items? So I like that the game actually made you think that through pretty carefully, because it is worth mentioning, before you're actually good at being an enchanter, you're probably not going to be able to create a fire axe as good of quality as the one you destroyed until
Right.
later in the game, of course. So it is kind of you got to think towards the long game, because you're like, I really just want to swing the fire axe and just have things die. But also, if I don't get this enchantment now, what if I never find another fire axe?
Yeah,
So
true.
I thought the ability to enchant and disenchant was really fun for me. I did get a lot out of that.
It's funny. I'm the opposite. I got more out of the crafting of potions and stuff. In fact, I try and build up my potion crafting so I could sell them, because some of them would sell for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you were just the traveling alchemist
Yeah,
across the land. I like that, the disenchanting and the enchantment part, because I did like it. I think it's it's something you get in the main quest. I think you get like the Axe of Whiterun from the Jarl of Whiterun after I believe after you retrieve the Dragonstone. And that one I really liked, because it had that thing, if you killed somebody, it has the chance of filling a soul gem. But then later on in the game, when I was kind of like, okay, I don't think I want to use double-handed weapons because they're just too cumbersome, take up too much stamina to really be able to use effectively. But I had this mace that I loved, a one-handed mace and shield that I was using. So I did make the decision, that critical decision you were talking about, to disenchant this like very special weapon to be able to give that soulstone regeneration ability to that mace. And then I was making money with those, filling up those soul stones, because that is yet another mechanic. Certain weapons that have these abilities have a charge to them. And you have to, after a period of time, that charge is depleted, and you have to use a soul stone to be able to charge it back up. So having a weapon that like automatically filled those stones was pretty key, especially if you wanted to use more magic heavy abilities and everything like that.
Yeah, agreed. Speaking of the magic, it is just worth mentioning that I do think that the game included a lot of different types of magic, and I like that they were kind of their own different categories, because there's your standard destruction magic, which is like fire, lightning, ice from your hands. Sweet, love all those. But then you have conjuration magic, which is like you create little spectral creatures that will help you in battle, like a wolf, for example, like conjure a wolf. That's awesome. I like conjuration magic. It wasn't very helpful. Most of the wolves I conjured just kind of exploded me instead of the enemies, but that's okay. Because you've also got restorative magic, the ability to heal yourself. And this is something that I found really, it's not that deep, but I found it really interesting anyways, is that if you have magic equipped to just one hand, it only does X amount of damage. But if you have it equipped to both hands, you do double the damage, and the same counted for restorative magic. So if you've just got 2 hands of healing, you do quadruple the healing to yourself. Don't quote me on that quadruple, but just a crap ton of healing. And I thought that was a really nice touch as well. And then you also had, of course, your shouts, which counted as magic. And then I think, I'm not sure if it's its own category, but necromancy. Necromancer magic. Being able to actually cast raise undead, I don't know what it was called, on a wolf you had just killed, and then you have a zombie wolf with you for a little while until it naturally expires again. I thought that was awesome. Loved arbitrarily bringing chickens I had killed back to life. God, that was probably my favorite
that's right.
thing.
You killed a lot of chickens.
Yeah, I killed a lot of chickens just for no good reason. I didn't even want their meat. I just wanted to kill them and then turn them into little zombie chickens. I thought that was really fun.
I did love on one of your streams that you were playing, and you resurrected 3 wolves, and they were just following you around, and you're like, oh man, this is so cool. I wonder how long they last. And you turned around to look at them, and all 3 of them just
they all fell over and died, and I was like, oh.
And you were on the side of a mountain, so they just started sliding down the mountain, their dead carcasses.
Funny. That was hysterical.
Ragdoll physics.
The timing of it was just, I couldn't have asked for better.
I'm pretty sure somebody made a clip, or you did, or something.
That kind of comedic timing does not happen often, and when it does come around, you have to savor those.
It was so good. It was so good. So Kirrok, what was the other point you were wanting to talk about?
Oh yeah. Okay, let me ask you guys in the form of a question. Obviously, going around the world of Skyrim, you guys noticed that there were a ton of books everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys read any of them?
Absolutely
I read
not.
a few. I read a
Okay.
few, but that part two also like. But there are some of them that I was like, damn, these are long.
Well,
so like, but I did read a few of them.
So here's the thing: you could have just left them, and you don't need to go through them. But a lot of them were packed with the lore of the game. Now, don't ask me because I don't even remember the stories. There were a couple that I absolutely loved, and there were volumes. So when you'd go around, you'd look at all the shelves. I spent like hours reading the books in this game. It was crazy. But you might find a book in another city that was volume 2, and the story continues in that volume.
That's cool.
What I kind of like was the mechanic of them upgrading some of your skills through some books that you find.
Yeah.
So it kind of forced you to go through the books, although those particular books that would upgrade something like a magic illusion or some other skill that you have were normally in an easy place, or you'd find them in a spot that was very evident. It'd be on the table of a wizard's place, and you'd go open it, and then you know gain that level up. But I have the books. Actually, I do have the books in EPUB format.
Oh, that's awesome.
Skyrim,
so you can just go back and read them all
and read them if I want
to.
But there were a couple stories I remember that I really liked. Now I'm blanking out. I don't remember what they were. There was one about a thief and a tower. I just can't remember.
I can't blame you for not remembering them because there literally are so many.
You would spend hours doing it. Trust me, there were times that I sat down and played 2-3 hours, and all I was doing was reading books. It was crazy.
What a nerd.
But I mean, that speaks though to the reason why this game, I mean, the reason why Skyrim is held in such high regard, and the Elder Scrolls series in general, is because of how much care they do put into the world building, which I think is like, regardless of like the various, complaints we may have about like some gimmicky or janky combat and things like that. The fact is, and it all goes back to what we talked about earlier about the atmosphere being just so damn good in this game, and really making this world feel alive, and that it was something that you wanted to spend hours upon hours going through and exploring and learning all the various secrets that you were there for you to uncover. So that part of it is very well done. And I was going to ask you when you were telling your story, if they did, I forgot about the books giving you like an up for your ability. Cause I was going to ask if they gave you like XP or anything for like that, for even opening them, because that was a thing that I remember in Dragon Age games. You could just go and get them and they'd give you like 50 XP or something like that.
Yeah. You would see the bar come up and it would say that you've leveled up or not necessarily leveled up, but at least you've gained some experience in that particular ability.
Nice.
That would pop up. There were werewolves in the game.
Yeah.
There are vampires in the
game.
I think they were
I fought a few vampires.
Yeah, I ran it. I forgot about this. I think I've become a vampire. And it was an accident.
I think I might have too.
I've become a vampire, and I'm like, I guess I just won't regenerate stamina during the daytime anymore, because that's what happens when you have vampirism. Like, you don't regen stamina during daylight hours, which, let me tell you, that really is a hella bummer, because if you're early on in the game and you don't really know how to fix that and you don't want to look it up by spoiling something, it's like, all right, I think I'm done playing now. So for me, that was kind of like a big negative, that I didn't have a super apparent and easy way to fix that, other than only travel at night or just travel really slow, which I've got to say did not improve my experience.
Well, at least it wasn't catching you on fire as soon as you step into the sunlight. So
yeah, it did. Your character would kind of go, flinch in the sun a little, which I thought was a nice touch. But beyond not regenerating stamina during the daytime, I'm not sure what, if any, other effects came along with vampirism. Oh, yes, I do, because I never got it to work right. Apparently, as a vampire, you can mesmerize other human people so that you can drink their blood. I don't. If you can get it to work, good for you. My problem was that there was never a person that I could corner alone. It was always like, oh, okay, I think I've got this person like backed into a corner. And then 5 guards would walk by and they'd be like, fancy evening, isn't it? And I'd be like, get out of here.
I'm trying to eat, damn it.
Very annoying. But I did like that was that they added an extra level of, yeah, you really are a vampire. You have to feed and stuff. It would have been nice if I had learned how to properly feed, but that's probably a me problem. Let's be real.
That's just baby vampire problems.
Yeah, that's just baby vampire problems. I'm sure you're right.
So what else, as we're kind of going on in here, what else really kind of stands out to us about this game that we wanted to touch on before we kind of brought our conversation to a close?
Can I give my last giant complaint?
Sure.
This is... I honestly don't know why they didn't bother updating this for any of the newer games, the 10,000 times they've released it. The only thing that should affect your speed and your burden in a game, I don't care how realistic you're being, is what weapons and armor you are wearing at the time. Those should affect your weight and your carrying capacity. Your inventory, all of the thousands of items that the game wants you to collect so that you can craft and make all this stuff, those should not count towards weight. That was the most... It wasn't even fun. Like, that was not a fun system. That was a frustrating system to not be able to just gather up stuff as much as I wanted to. I'm a modern gamer.
Well, because you're used to being able to do that, yeah.
Things.
Then you have to make that ultimate sacrifice. Do I drop this or do I drop that?
And
you make that decision a lot.
You do make that decision a lot, but it's not fun. And I would contend that it does not add to the experience. I just found it frustrating and annoying. So that was a negative 1,000 out of 10 as far as like gamer experience goes.
I get that. So how do you feel then? It's slightly different because this inventory system doesn't necessarily affect your weight and how fast you can move and stuff. But how do you feel about having like, those games? Have you played any of those games where like your inventory is a grid system? And you have to like make the things you're carrying fit into it, like all puzzled and stuff.
A Tetris model.
Yeah. How do you feel about those inventory systems?
I haven't played many games that are like that. I think Resident Evil 4 would be the only one. And sure, I mean, sometimes you have to make room for the bazooka, but that's a case of clearly being like, I'm making room for the bazooka. It's special. This is the case of, I have accidentally picked up a sword that I didn't even mean to click on. Now I'm overburdened, and now I have to go back into my inventory again to figure out what I accidentally picked up.
Yeah, because you may not realize. Yeah,
and you may not realize it, and I just found it so incredibly annoying. Did not like that at all.
Nice. So Kirrok, what's some other thoughts?
So here's the thing. I did mention earlier on that I recently reinstalled it and I never modded it. And I think the cool thing is I've kind of rediscovered it. I have some friends who stream it, and they were the ones who use this app, download the mods from this site. And I did it for the first time. I only ran about like 45 mods, not a lot. The other people I watch on Twitch are running like 120, 128 mods. And you can run a ton of mods. Being an older game or older generation game on newer hardware, your newer hardware can handle it quite well. And you can do things like change the environment, put in amazing trees, birds, snow, foliage, so you can put like mods that put in flowers. You can actually put in mods, Mogan, that improve your inventory system.
Yeah, that I've heard about that one.
Huge.
And that would have been incredible. That would have been a game saver for me, probably.
So I got a chance to do it all, set it all up, played it a bit. It didn't really hook me. A few other games came out around that time, so I moved on. And then recently my computer, the hard drive just... so I lost that. It's no big deal. I didn't have a backup of that. It's not that big a deal because I hadn't really invested that much time into it. But I think Skyrim has cloud saves anyways. And then I just set it all back up again. But I haven't done the modding. To be honest, after that happened, I felt like, you know what? I'm not going to spend 2 hours putting mods back in again. Forget it. Yeah. And I just didn't do it. So I have it set up. I have Skyrim downloaded, but I just didn't go that extra step to put in mods.
And here's the thing: I know that mods are one of the selling points of Skyrim. I get it, but I don't think we should be judging the quality of a game on its mods. Just in general,
True.
I think we should be
100%.
judging the base game. Like,
Yeah,
what did I
agree.
pay for? What did the developers make? That is what I'm paying for.
Yeah.
That's what we're reviewing here today.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm just saying it's out there, and I was always like, no, vanilla, and then I explored it, and I gotta say, it's actually quite amazing. It is.
I'm sure that there's so many, even just the quality of life and like graphics upgrades, I'm sure that those improve the experience exponentially.
Mhm.
So I think if, I had dabbled more in that, or maybe had the game on PC, it would have made a bigger difference. But unfortunately,
No,
like I did enjoy my time playing Skyrim. I know I have many complaints about it, but what I did play, I enjoyed. But I have played enough now, and now I am done.
Yeah,
it's filled the whole. You explored the mystery. You've seen what's on the other side, and you're like, okay, I'm good. I'm
done here. That's enough. I've gotten my fill of Scrim.
I think I'll. Oh, go ahead.
Did I mention there are nude mods?
I'm in.
Heavens.
That's all I need. You said
sorry to interrupt, Jared. No. Go ahead.
No, I actually that's why I played it on. I got the special edition for PS4 when we started playing it through, and I saw that it did have the option to like add some mods. But again, like to what Mogan was saying, I wanted to experience it at its base level. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, I feel like my 360 that I have might have come with Skyrim when I bought it years ago. So I could have really played the original, I guess, if I wanted to, but I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But just still going off of like its base laurels, like what it had. But now that I've kind of experienced that, I might be more, because I think I'm not going to like say I'm going to be try to finish the game this year, but it's definitely something I could see myself going back and be like, you know what? I want to derp around for a little bit more. And if I do that, then yeah, I'm kind of thinking now I might try out some of these mods that do like increase the graphical quality, do allow for the inventory systems and various changes there, just to see what those can offer as well. Because that really is, modding is something I have just not really touched at all. And so, trying that out and seeing what I can do with that would be pretty fun to see what offerings they can give there. The last thing that I did want to talk about, because I feel like you can't talk about Skyrim without referencing it. And again, going back to the atmosphere and how well it built the atmosphere, the music is so good. Like the main theme and everything of Skyrim is incredibly done. That chorus and everything, just like the song of the Dragonborn and all that stuff is just incredibly good. And I love that you would hear those beats and everything and that chorus again, like when you would go pick up the words for the next part of your shout and different stuff like that, your next abilities. So good. So good. So just wanted to give that additional note to them for the music and stuff as well. So, well, I guess if we don't have any other thoughts or things that we wanted to really touch about on this, we can go ahead and kind of wrap up our conversation here on this game.
Comment down below if you want just 5 hours of me just talking into the webcam complaining about Skyrim. Happy oblige.
It'll be a bonus episode for you. That special sweet extra content.
Join Mogan for a special bonus episode. 5 hours of shitting on Skyrim.
Fireside chat.
Fireside chat. No, just kidding, but it would be really funny.
Well, I think it's been really fun getting to go and explore through conversation this game that we got to explore virtually, and just through this world that we were able to all experience, and one that has had such an impact on gaming. And just for many people has been such a seminal chapter in their gaming histories. And so it's been really great getting to talk about Skyrim. Obviously, we would love to hear what you all listening or watching thought of this game as well. So please send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. Comment below on the YouTube podcast service where you're watching. Write us a note on our social media. Join our Discord and talk about Skyrim with us there. We would love to hear from you. Oh, is it time? Or are you just showing? I thought you were going to lick the cartridge. He's going to do it. He's never licked a cartridge before.
I've never licked a cartridge before.
I'm so excited.
This is a Skyrim cartridge.
I can't believe that you haven't licked any of the other
None at all. Do you know what it tastes like?
Yeah, I licked one when we did our first unboxing of the Actually,
Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah, Skyrim 2.0. When we did the Breath of the Wild unboxing,
Nice.
I took out the cartridge and I licked it because it was my first Switch game.
I feel like this is going to be that like that Bean Boozled thing that jelly beans do, where it's like you don't know if it's the vomit flavor.
Oh, good. Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. Let's see.
Did they nerf it?
It took a little bit.
The face says it all.
Yeah, it became really, really, really sour and sharp.
Oh, hopefully it tastes like
It just took a few moments to kick in.
Had to build.
Oh,
That's funny.
Drink some water. Get the taste out of your mouth. Oh my God.
It's like a really bad envelope.
Dude,
Oh, that's the worst.
you know what would make for an incredible video, and I shouldn't even say it on here because we're going to blow one of our best ideas, a video of licking every single available Nintendo Switch cartridge. Buy every physical game on the market and in one go lick every single one.
Just kill all taste buds on your tongue.
Yeah, I think that would be incredible. Kirrok, you down to be a guest on that one?
Oh man. Sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I'll be there.
Okay.
He says, not very reassuringly. Well, it has been a blast getting to talk about Skyrim. Thank you, Kirrok, again for coming on to the show. Once again,
a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Yeah, great time having you on and everything. So please let us know what you thought of Skyrim, and we will all see you next time on the next episode of Team Chat Podcast. But until then, everybody, I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined across the power of the internet by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
And our special guest, Kirrok Craft.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you all next time.